Do hard water stains or rust stains really bother you and you just can't get them out? Well, stay tuned for today's video. I'm going to show you 2 ways that I use to remove these stains. Welcome back to another Jeff Reviews for You. And in this video you saw, we are going to show you some ways to clean that nasty stained toilet from rust stains or whatever. You know what? Enough talking about what we're going to do. Let's get right into this video. One of the ways I use chemicals, and the other way I use a pumice stone. I've heard of other people call them pumice stones, but they are really effective. Before I get started, I always clean the toilet completely with some Clorox bleach or just toilet cleaner. So I'm gonna do that first, and then we're gonna tackle these stains. Simply cleaning it does do a good job of getting the surface stuff off, but you can see there's still some rings around in there. I first noticed these stains about 6 months ago, and to be honest with you, that was about 3 months after the water softener broke in the house, and we just haven't replaced it. So I searched and searched and searched for different ways to clean up these stains. I've tried different sprays and tablets and just not had very much success. Here are the 2 products that we are going to be using. Of course, you can see the muriatic acid right here on the right and our pumice stone over here on the left. I actually saw this used by another YouTuber. I can't actually remember the name. If I find it, I'll link it down below in the description. But this does work, but I cannot stress enough how dangerous poison can be. So I always use personal protective equipment. I have gloves on, I have goggles on. Sometimes I'll even wear a smock or so in front of me. Even a mask helps. This is actually recommended to be used outside, but I'm going to be using it in a well-ventilated space. I end up transferring contents from here into a spray bottle. That way I can apply it a lot easier. I was telling a friend of mine about the muriatic acid I use to clean the toilet, and they were very concerned because it's poison, and they said, well, I clean houses for a living. This is what I use. They actually use these pumice stones. And what's neat about this is it has a handle, and of course, it's just easy to utilize inside the toilet bowl. I should say this is new, haven't used this yet, so it's covered in plastic. You actually remove the plastic before use. One final thing, I always make sure that the muriatic acid is stored in a place where kids can't get to it, and it is climate controlled, so it's always cool. So make sure you keep these away from kids and it's not overly hot where you store this. All right, let's get started. The first thing we're going to try is the muriatic acid. As I said just a little bit ago, make sure you're wearing your personal protective equipment. I have my gloves, my goggles, and even a mask on. Not to mention the window in this bathroom is open and I have a fan blowing the air right out. Also, before I start, you notice I drained out some of the water, and I've actually turned the water off to the tank because you want to spray this onto the porcelain itself and not to have it diluted with water. Here we go. Now we're going to let that sit for just a little while, come back with the scrubber brush. After letting it sit about 5 minutes, I just come through and start scrubbing. This takes a lot of elbow grease. I mean, you really need to scrub, but over time, those stains will come out. After about 5 minutes of scrubbing, the left side you can see did come clean. If you're like me, however, I am not a fan of harsh chemicals, especially muriatic acid. It's actually kind of dangerous. So I prefer a non-toxic way, and that's where the pumice stone comes in. So now let me show you on the right side, which to be honest with you was the side that was more stained, and how our pumice stone works. As you can see, I've used this a lot, and I actually like to file it towards an angle so I have a wider surface. That's why you see that slant. My biggest recommendation is make sure your stone is wet because you don't want to scratch your porcelain. Now, in my opinion, this is probably scraping your porcelain. And so with this toilet being white, I'm not as worried, but if I had like a black or blue or pink toilet, I would be more cautious doing this as to not scratch it. But honestly, this is the easiest process cleaning these stains off. I mean, I used that acid, it took me about 5 minutes to clean. I can clean this entire toilet in probably 2 minutes. So, tell me, what are your thoughts of these 2 ways to clean out that rust stain in your toilet? Something you've used, you're thinking about it, not so much. Do you have a better way? Let me know down in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to try to show you a close-up of this stain right here and exactly what I do to take out the stain. All right, so I'm going to do my best to keep my hand out of the screen, but I do big circles, little circles, up and down. I always make sure my stone, however, is wet. Now, I'm holding this pretty awkwardly just so I'm not in the way on the camera. You clearly would hold it differently, but as you can see, that stain I was working on is all but gone. Let's work on the next one. Check that out, just a matter of seconds. I'm going to continue working on this and I'll show you at the end. And there it is. After just a few minutes of scrubbing, it's clean enough to eat off of. Well, sort of, you get what I mean. In this video, we were just looking at two different ways to clean out the rust stains in your toilets. It was a pumice stone and some muriatic acid. So what did I think of it? First things first, let's talk about the price point. 2 pumice stones right around $6 or $7. That's a great deal, especially since they last a long time. I think I paid about $12 or $13 for the gallon of the muriatic acid, so that's just a price comparison between the two. So how did they work? As you saw, they both really cleaned the toilet. The muriatic acid, yes, it's poison, yes, it stinks, yes, it took a lot longer, but it did clean. But as you saw, the pumice stone reigned supreme and it cleaned it up in just a matter of minutes. Now, I bet if you had a really strong zoom camera, you can look in, it might scratch the porcelain. That is something that I worry about, but I don't really notice it, so I'm pretty pleased with the results. I will say I was talking to a friend of mine that I referenced earlier, and they did say that sometimes you might have to pre-treat with the muriatic acid or other chemicals before using a pumice stone. Just a thought. The funny thing is, this review is actually going to lead into another review, but I had to clean up the toilet first. That's just something you'll have to come back for. Anyway, that was my full review of cleaning up the rust stains in the toilet using muriatic acid and pumice stone. Of course, pumice stone would be the one I would recommend. Anyway, if that's something that interests you, I will leave a link down in the description. This is Jeff with Jeff Reviews for You. As always, thanks for stopping by and I hope you have a great day. For those that have hard water stains or rust stains, you know it's not a one and done clean. This is something that you have to clean again and again and again. I have to clean mine between every 7 and 10 days, and it's probably going to be this way until I get that water softener replaced. After I'm done scrubbing out the toilet stains, I just lay my pumice stone on the toilet and let it dry. It's less than an hour typically, and then I have a plastic bag that I just stick it into and leave the handle out. I should say that I get between 1 and 2 months use per pumice stone, and that is one toilet that it's used on, cleaning every 7 to 10 days, just scrubbing it through. So that's just about my typical use, 1 month, maybe 2. I put this away in the closet and it's ready for me the next time I need it. I really do appreciate that you stayed around for my entire review where I cleaned out a rust looking stain out of the toilet. I don't know if you saw it, but attached to that toilet is actually a bidet. It's a review video I did not that long ago. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna link up that review right up here, and I would love it if you would click on this link. And when you do, by the magic of the internet, I'm gonna join you right here. So go ahead, click it. It's safe, I promise.